David Sirota's outlet, the Daily Poster, did some digging and found an incredible fact about Fox News star Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson slammed former President Barack Obama in April of 2017 for giving a $400,000 paid Wall Street speech, calling it indefensible. By the way, he's right. What could the former president possibly say, A, that we haven't heard, B, that would be worth $400,000 for an hour, the Fox News host asked on his show. 5 months later, Carlson and Obama both spoke at the same conference hosted by the Wall Street giant, the Carlyle Group, a private equity colossus. According to Bloomberg, Obama discussed his life and the decisions he made in the White House. It was one of 3 finance industry speeches Obama did in the span of weeks. Carlson, who has been known to criticize Wall Street on his show, spoke on a panel with other journalists. He has also done speaking gigs with J.P. Morgan and the investment banking firm Jefferies Group. Carlson bills more than $70,000 per appearance, according to his profile on the Washington Speakers Bureau. The revelations about Carlson were included in records obtained from state pension systems that invest in private equity firms. This is a great job here by the Daily Poster finding this, because I've never seen more concrete evidence, one might even call it proof, that Tucker Carlson is a fake populist. Listen, it should have been clear all along that this is his game. This is the lane that he's found. Namely because what he does on his show, and I'm sure all of you recognize this, he'll do segments every now and then that are genuinely good segments. Where, like, one time he came out in favor of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders and their bill to limit the amount of interest that banks could charge you at 12%. It's basically like a bill to stop loan sharking, to stop them ripping you off. And he came out in favor of that. He's had some good segments when it comes to trade and how all the jobs are being outsourced, and that's terrible. He's good when it comes to war. He's had John Bolton on and held his feet to the fire and stuff. Now, my bone to pick with Tucker has always been, as he makes these arguments, as he takes a stand on things that matter, what he does is redirects that support, redirects that populist energy right back to supporting the people who are exacerbating the problems that he claims to be against. So in other words, you can't do those segments and then support Donald Trump. You can't do those segments and then down ballot support Republican politicians. You just can't do it. And I think it would have been a fascinating test for Tucker, and he would have really exposed himself quickly, if it had been Donald Trump versus Bernie Sanders. Because now you have the clearest example ever of a fake populist who's been outed as a fake populist versus a real populist in Bernie Sanders. And what are you going to do, Tucker? How do you keep the fake populist mask on in that scenario? Because what he would do is he'd outwardly support Trump, and then all of a sudden his whole shtick is up. So, I mean, this is just a more clear example of that dynamic. Because every now and then, I would do segments every now and then, and I would say the same thing I'm saying now, which is, oh, he made a great point on this, but here's why he's all talk and no action, because he's redirecting the energy to support Republican politicians. Well, now you see it goes even deeper than that. Now you see, this is just like Obama in terms of the Wall Street speeches that he's giving, but also in rhetoric versus reality. See, Obama did this. Obama would go out there and say some tepid things like, that Wall Street should be held accountable or whatever. And then he would turn around and give them a bailout with no strings attached. And you'd be looking at it like, what are you doing? And you'd have people on Wall Street who play into this kabuki theater, and also because they're idiots, they would argue that, like, Barack Obama is being so tough on us, and his anti-rich language is like that of Nazi Germany. I'm serious. There are people, we've covered those stories of people on Wall Street who act like, Obama's going to put private equity people in camps or something. But, like, again, the rhetoric never matched the reality. So Obama would say some things that were tough on Wall Street, and then he'd give him a bailout with no strings attached. And why do you think it is that when Obama left office, he got paid by Wall Street? Because really, ultimately, most people on Wall Street understood that in terms of how Obama governed, it was very beneficial to them. It was very beneficial to the top 1% and to the executive class. And so that's him getting repaid those $400,000 speeches. In the case of Tucker, he's not in government, so he's not, it's not about policies he's personally pursued, because he's not in government. He hasn't pursued any policies. But it does reflect that they all know the game. They all know that, yeah, he might say some things every now and then that seem tough on us, but ultimately he's going to end up supporting the politicians who give us everything that we want. And so, listen, this is how Washington works. You have the people who are more honest about their corruption, and then you have the people who mask their corruption well and can do the fake populist tap dance. And there are very few people who say the right things and also believe the right things, and their actions show that they believe the right things. So, I mean, yeah, mask off moment, man. Now, how could anybody wiggle their way out of this one? Even the most hardcore Tucker fan. Now you know the populist stuff he says, you can't take it seriously. It's an act. In fact, there was a court case where Fox News argued not to take Tucker Carlson seriously. You know, and this is just like with the Alex Jones court case, where they were like, no, he's playing a character. It looks like they're all playing characters. It looks like they all found a lane. And, after all these years, by the way, he's rebranded himself a number of times because he's been on all these different networks. He's been on CNN, he's been on MSNBC. And he finally found a lane that worked for him. The traditional Republican lane, when he was wearing the bow tie and getting eviscerated by Jon Stewart on air, that didn't work. So now he found a lane like, the paleo-conservative, the populist conservative. And okay, it worked in terms of now you're getting the audience, but now you see how the sausage is really made. That perhaps Tucker Carlson and Barack Obama are not too different when it comes to corruption, when it comes to taking money from powerful interests. So yeah, it's everybody's made this a meme now. It's funny because I don't feel like I say it that much, but I guess I do. It's time to pound the gavel on Tucker Carlson, because Tucker Carlson is very clearly one of the fakest of fake populists, as fake as, say, Donald Trump, as he does his tax cut package for the rich, the 2017 tax cut law, where 83% of the benefits went to the top 1%. It encouraged outsourcing, all at the same time while he's out there pretending like he's against outsourcing and he's fighting for working people. Tucker Carlson is basically in that exact same category, and this is such a clear example of it here.